everyone, it's Judith Briles, and we're back for another scintillating episode of the AuthorU, Your Guide to Book Publishing podcast. And as always, I like to start with a quote before we introduce our guest to you. So, from the book, Snappy, Sassy, Salty Success for Authors and Writers. And it is really my random open, which is what I do. Writers don't just dabble, they write, they tweak, and they rewrite. All right. So with that said, kind of is the perfect lead-in, I think, for what we're going to be doing. I want to introduce to someone that we have never had on before, but I've known her for over 2 decades, and I've had her as a speaker at my conferences. She is the author of the best-selling author of How to Write a Movie in 21 Days, which we are going to be doing a podcast just on that at a later time. But we're going to do talking this today. We're going to talk about a different topic, which leads into that. But I want to introduce you to the amazing Viki King. And Viki is the author as the industry classic, which I just mentioned, How to Write a Movie in 21 Days, and the Inner Movie Method. And she's been showing people how to tell their stories, how to bring them alive, to have people fall into them. So she's now the author of How to Be the Hero of Your Own Life, where she tells her own powerful story and uses her wit, which is immense, to illuminate for others the deeper meaning of their own lives. So it allows us to open up to talk about memoirs a little bit, how to bring those alive to you, and how they aren't stuck on my favorite dog is Fluffy. We need to know how Fluffy gets inside you and motivates you, inspires you, and all those things. So Viki is going to show us how to move on. And with that, Viki, I think I just want to jump into this.
Yes,
So,
of course.
and get into this, and let's just why don't we just talk about what's going on globally around us all right now? We're in an oddball world, an oddball client. I think the word you used when we talked was rogue. Everything is rogue almost in that we're breathing, we're living, but some people are questioning, where are we going from here? So how can we we writers, we authors, take our individual talents and kind of keep it alive and going, or hopeful or inspired or all those things? So I'm just going to jump in there.
Great, perfect, because it is, of course, the greatest time to be creative in the whole wide world. And when we're sitting, all of us, bedazzled by the events of the world, we can say, many people have to say, like, well, we'll just have to wait and see. No, create what it is that you want, and start playing with that, and start being, powerful around that. Well, what do we want? How do we want it to look? What do we want to shape it as? What kind of community are we making? And so this is all brand new. If we're going to be the luminescent humans, which we're moving toward, then by all means, we all have a say in it. So, this is a very writerly time of life where those people who are writers can bring their writer's voice and make a difference and start establishing what it is that we want.
And how do they do breakthrough? I know so many feel so stuck. They feel so powerless right now.
Powerless.
And powerless is really the right word, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. What does my voice matter when it does matter?
Yes. So here's why the powerlessness is coming in. Of course, everything is falling down. And so when things are falling down, you don't know what to do. It's a very fundamental, basic fear that a child has, when they're 2 years old. I don't know what to do. I spilled the milk. What's mommy going to say? And so that's where we start from. We start from feeling. That's what, when we're talking about fight, flight, freeze. No, it's fight, flight, feel. When you
Ooh, I
think
love
like,
that.
I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, that's the time to do your feeling. That's the powerful divine goddess feminine is feel. What is that you're feeling? And people are feeling now, they're feeling all kinds of things about the wide world. And
Mhm.
and then they go to powerlessness from the feelings, but the feelings are not powerless. The feelings are powerful. And what's been going on for everybody is that everybody's identity is up. In other words, whoever you thought you were, whoever you thought you were powerful, whatever you thought you were powerful at, now you think you're not. So then you're powerless. But the truth is, you get to look at your identity. What is it that you're thinking that you are? And let that go. Everybody let go all the things that they thought that they were. And then you're free. There's a secret that I know about life. And I tell everybody all the time the secret. And what it is this.
I'm
Life.
okay. I'm writing Secret of Life. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. So here's what it is. Life works. Life works. And when we get powerlessness and we get gobbledygook and we get shenanigans and we're all, it's because we mess with that life works. If you just go with how life is so smart, it's so funny and clever that if you just follow it, oh, that's where it is. It's all row, row, row your boat. It's gently down the
Mhm.
stream. We're not needing to go up the stream. And that's where we are now. Where is
Mm,
it that you get to go downstream? Where
mm,
is it that you put yourself into the river?
mm. Oh, I love putting myself in. Actually, it would feel quite good on this hot day. But with that said,
Yeah, with
so
your beautiful, that yellow on you is just fabulous. Look at that.
slipping into the river. Um, um, I was, so many friends they're upset about so much stuff. And
Yes.
I said, here's where I've decided to direct my energies. Everyone talks about, and this is really a side thing, but there is things that you can do once you come up with, oh, well, maybe I can focus some of my energy here
Hmm.
and your activism energy or whatever you want to call it. But everyone talks about Social Security. It's all going to hell in the handbasket. It's going to run out. It's going to disappear. And I had this conversation just last night, Viki, with a friend. I said, wait a second. Let's go back to when the government started to raid the Social Security Trust. Let's go back to that time, you know, and this was a bipartisan thing.
Hmm.
Started under a presidency, but
Hmm.
it's a bipartisan raid, which is now to the tune of over $2.5 trillion have been taken out of the trust to do other stuff, including let's put $100 billion into the Iranian war. Okay, so instead of allowing that to happen, I've decided, and I've already started making phone calls to Congress people, writing my senators, that I don't want another penny over whatever the initial budget was going to any other direction. And if there's a redirect, it needs to pay down Social Security because that's where it should go. So that's where I'm going to be putting my energy. Just
Well, look
pounding
out
Congress
because
people.
when Judith is on a project, yeah, this is,
But but no one talks about paying back Social
yeah,
Security.
that's good. That's good. That's good.
It's been a massive piracy, you
Well,
know.
the boomers are the ones that are
Well,
up
and it
for
started
Social
with the
Security.
boomers. All the money that came in from the boomer population, all these extra funds that came in, all of a sudden, Congress and the powers that be said, "Oh my God, we've got all this money. We could use it for other stuff." Instead of handling it like, "Oh, the Social Security Trust Fund."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh, oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
what it was. Anyway,
Good for
so
you. Okay, so then
that was
all who are listening, if
mm,
you would, if this appeals to you, get on the bandwagon with Judith because she will take
yes,
you. Yeah.
yes. But it's not. This is not complicated. You have to use your voice. I always say words matters. I know Viki believes words matter. Your words matter.
Yeah.
So I do call my Congress people. I do call and write my senators. And right now we're in the season, here we are several months to another big election that we're all getting pounded for donations.
Oh,
And
yes.
okay, I pound back and I said, you know what? This is where I stand right now. So that's my new thing. So
Judith, do
as
you ever
of
want to
yesterday,
run for office?
never.
Never.
Viki, I used to say I was a child of the 60s and we weren't qualified to run for anything and now a badge of honor. I get it. But no, I have too many other things.
So this is a really good example, which
Mm,
is that you have gathered your talents and your propensities and your desires and your angers and capabilities and everything, and you can funnel it into a really, really, really good specific action to take.
mhm,
And that's for all of us. We all have, incredible talents and, possibilities that, oh, I can do that, but I couldn't do that. It's like everybody's got a division of labor that works for them.
mhm, mhm,
And so then they need to be utilizing those
mhm.
capabilities.
Well, I know one of your points when you talk about your inner method is to let your heart do the talking. And
Yeah.
my heart is pounding, saying, so wait a second. I actually could get on a cause that will not piss off a lot of people. It doesn't matter because I've always said, I know my producer Ben has heard me say this, that my philosophy is I look at the greater good. That is the path I kind of follow. What is in the greater good?
Hmm.
Area. And actually, if there could be any helping in this problem, it truly is for the greater good.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Yeah, and that's a very good part of the equation when you're going to take an action, which is why are you taking the action? What is the result that you're hoping for? And that's good to have top of mind when you're
mhm,
taking the action, because
mhm.
otherwise that focuses it more so. Yeah.
And you can get lost, because there's always another thing coming in at you. Look at me, look at me. So I decided I'm going to be another one of my favorite phases, Vicky, is when you're working on something, you need to become myopically focused. You
Well,
got to
that
shut.
you know how to do that.
I do know how to do that, but you have to shut out and you have to say no. You have to say no to other stuff that you would like to be there for, but it's not the right fit right now.
Right, right.
Hard.
So
All
what's
right.
happening for people is that, and you might notice this, is that um, many thoughts are coming in, and they're
Mm-hmm.
all like bombarding you in
Mm-hmm.
equal energy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I have to put my red shoes away, and oh, I have to, answer the tax problem or whatever. Um, Things are different weights, but they're coming boom, 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 boom. And what we need, and the reason that that's doing that way is because that's why we're busting open what identity is. That, because if you have like a small concern and a large concern, then what it does is it jiggles everything up like, well, what's important fundamentally. And it's
Mm-hmm.
new stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the old things that we have all been working for or on in prioritizing. It's new things that need to be prioritized. And that's why it's coming up that way for
Mm-hmm.
pretty much everybody. It's like it's difficult to focus now.
Mm-hmm. Well, with what you're saying ties into the title of your new book, your autobiography, which is How to Be a Hero of Your Own Life. How to
Yes.
be a hero of your own life. And you say it starts before your birth, it ends after life, and addresses every age in between. So let's kiss on this. And I want you to also talk about, do you have a definition of what you call your inner method?
Well, it's, it's just what you came here to do, what your essence is.
Hmm.
Ikigai, ikigai is a very a good word for it. That's a Japanese word for your
I
purpose.
love Ishigai.
Yeah.
I love Ishigai to be in the present.
Yeah,
So,
and to be in your purpose. And and that's what you're here for, so you might as well be there, to do that. But my book is that I knew that I was going to write this for my whole life. And since it's an autobiography, that means you have to live your whole life to be writing it all along. And I
yes.
did write it all along every year. And I picked out, I would live the year and then pick out one of the events of that year that
Mhm,
personified that year for all of us. I mean, we're all completely different, but there's
mhm,
certain benchmarks and maturity levels that you hit, at each year. And so then I would make a split second story about that metaphor. Like, for instance, when I was 6, it was about big bad bully Billy, what to do about the
mm,
bully. And so I, solve it as a 6-year-old. And of course, you could read that now and maybe think of it in terms of the political system. You know, there's in a metaphor you can find a lot of answers
mhm,
to the same metaphor. But that's what I did. I did the whole. People can look up their age and think, oh, well, let's see what was she doing at that age, and what was I doing at that age, and they can reflect on their life in such a way that it begins to shift, and things that were bothersome to them or things that were core wounds from early on, as they're reading my book, they heal that in their life
mhm,
just by reading the story of each year.
mhm.
So that's
So
what I did.
year by year or
Yeah.
decade by decade, I don't know if you went through every year.
Yeah, you could. No, I did every year. I did from before, um, we were all called to Earth, I believe. And so, why would you call to Earth? What was it that you were coming here to do? What was that? And to be clear about that so that you can do it, so that you can accomplish the thing that you came in to do. So
Mhm,
it's yeah, every year it's from birth to, you know,
mhm,
80, actually.
mhm. Interesting. Well, I think about my fifth year. I mean, I have a lot of years I have no memories, but my fifth year that I was Lottie came into my life. The fifth to my seventh year, Lottie was in my life. So if it wasn't for Lottie, I would have been an amazing lost little girl, really lost.
Was that
And,
a pet?
and Lottie was the housekeeper.
Oh, Lottie was the housekeeper.
Lottie would take me home with her. She kind of protected me
Mm,
from the bullying of my brothers.
mm,
She, I have no memory of my mother before the age of 7. No,
mm.
zero, zero. But Lottie was there. And so when I hear people talk about, and I loved going home when she took me home for the weekend, it was the best. And and being with her family, and that when I hear people let their prejudices flow out, I don't understand it.
No.
If Lottie, a black woman hadn't been there for me, I don't
Right,
know if I'd be here today.
right.
So,
Yeah.
so you never know on those things. Excuse me. Mm,
And
right,
somebody else had a different kind of
right.
experience early, and then whatever their experience filters through, it comes out ideas, belief systems, all kinds of things. So
Yeah,
if it weren't for Lottie, maybe you couldn't call the senators now.
probably not. She taught me how to kind of stick up for myself. She taught me that I had to rely on me.
Well, that's wonderful, Judith, because you do.
I do.
That's your overriding personality, is that you stick up for yourself and you take care of you. You know how to,
Mhm.
and you're very good at taking care of other people in terms of,
I
um,
do.
offering them so much. You're, a giving heart, a giving heart.
I do. All right. So, well, your first step, and I'm just talking about, like, so let your heart do the talking.
Yeah.
So and that's part of, I think, part of your intuition involved here. Listen to well, now we're talking about the inner self. Listen up here to what's going on.
Well, the thing, if you want to be a writer, I mean, you don't have to do this, but if you want to be a writer, please find your writer's voice. And then you will be a really good writer. You don't have to, you can, just write something third person or so. But if
Oh,
you
please
really,
don't.
but please don't, yeah. But
Please don't.
really, do what is uniquely from your heart onto the page, and that's the thrill of it. And so then finding your writer's voice is it. That's where you go. That's what teach yourself. And then you get going on the writing. And usually you can't shut yourself up once you got your writer's voice found.
Okay, so to find maybe some people don't understand what a writer's voice is.
Writer's voice is the sound of what you're saying. A
Mm,
really, really good one that had really good writer's voice was J.D. Salinger.
mm.
There's writer's voice. There's the tone of it, the way he. In fact, I read him Catcher in the Rye really, really early. I was 10, maybe something like that, and I think that started my understanding of my writer's voice, because I have a very strong writer's voice. I mean, people always say, "Oh, your book sounds just like you." Well, yeah,
It
that's the
should.
point.
It should.
Yeah,
I think one of the best compliments an author can get from a reader is someone says, I feel like I'm having a conversation with you.
yeah,
You know, and
yeah. And
I know
so that's what writer's voice is. Do you want to have a conversation with a reader? Open your conversation at that place in your heart, and then
Mhm.
you'll do fine.
All right. So you also talk about within your book about how important it is really to identify and step into your own spotlight. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. The You know, well, I kind of think that we all, like a dance ball with like a mirror ball,
The mirror disco ball?
one of those, yeah, those disco balls.
Uh-huh.
We all are a facet. And so then there it is, there, shine that particular light out in the world. And then, you're included in the dance ball of life.
Mhm.
And that's shining your light. Stand in your light, shine your light, be your light. And it's a full-time job for you to know what that is, where that is, how that is, and how you're going to offer that to the world as a contribution.
Oh, I love the way you said that. Stand in your light, be in your light, shine in your light. I love that phrase.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, I think that's very, very
There's
cool.
another way that you can think of it, which is we each come in with a piece of the puzzle of the big picture. And if
Mhm.
you don't put in your piece of the puzzle, there's a big hole in the big picture. So you got to, and your piece is a little, it's jaggedy and bitsy, and fits with somebody else right next to you. And it's up to you to just to see, well, it goes in here and it comes out here, and it, and the nuances of it, so
Mhm.
that you can contribute it nicely and it fits.
Are there any current movies? Do you get to the theater at all now?
I try
Are
not
you trying?
Yeah, I'm trying not to. Um, uh, yeah, but yeah, the current, you mean current movies now about?
If anything, well, I have certain things because it doesn't shine on my light. I don't like heavy duty violence. I don't do
No,
horror. You
no,
know, I stay away from most really the psychological thrillers, because I know that there's really screwed up people out there, and I just don't want them into my space.
right.
That's just where I come from. Um, and but there was when I went to see the movie this season, there was one of the big ones, the Project Hail Mary. There were so many elements of it that I delighted in. I love kind of quirky humor anyway. And that I love the theme of unexpected friendships that can happen. Um, it's like, yeah, myself with Lottie. Here's this grown woman, black woman, who took a little white girl under her wing. Okay,
Yeah.
unexpected. And the just the fun, the things that people will do to reach out and support someone that are a complete surprise. So I love a lot of those elements that come together. So that was just really a delight for me to just drop into that world for 2.5 hours. So
Yeah, me too. That's more my flavor that
stop.
I enjoy. I don't want
Hmm.
violence. Doesn't thrill me.
No,
And
no.
as I have been a consultant for films in Hollywood, um, one of the interesting things is if they come to me with a horror movie,
Mhm. Mhm.
you I always warn them, because on the set of a horror movie, it's always a horror. It's always, there's always the metaphor of things having to be set right because they're knocked down. It's just because they're doing a horror film. So that's what happens.
I've never been on a set of a horror film. I pretty much can say safely I never will be, unless it's something I have to encounter personally.
Well, sometimes they're funny because they're not, they've got pretend blood and such, so then everybody understands the
Make
realities
believe,
that are different.
the make believe
It's
of it.
pretend. It's pretend. Yeah, pretend.
Ugh, all right. All right. So, Vicki, you also talk about how to get from surviving to thriving. You know,
Oh,
I I used to use that when I spoke, when I was speaking for associations, and I did a lot of work. I did 20 years. I spoke in the healthcare industry, and to evolve into the not just or just making it day by day, to that we could really have a thriving environment. So how does that tie us in as writers, and
well,
even our whole authordom? Okay.
yeah. You want to, I think fundamentally everybody at their core would like to be healed, have their healed self. And so you can go to your core wound that you were hanging with. The thing about survival is that you get really, really good at it if you've had a difficult turn in childhood, like you found out that you needed to be strong yourself. You needed to take care of yourself. These are fundamental, really important survival tools early on. And when you get them, then you can move into the possibility that you're going to be thriving as an adult. Like, for instance, people get really, really good at survival tools from early on. That's how they survive. So then when they're then 34 years old, um, they find that they're still using their survival tools. Like, for instance, there was one um, young man I have in the book, and he, as a child, it wasn't safe to be home, and there wasn't any food there, so he would run down the block to his aunt and uncle's house at dinner time, and sometimes sleep on the couch. So when he was 34 years old, he came for consultation. He couldn't understand why he was still sleeping on people's couches and going to other people's houses, landing there at dinner time, because he was good at survival tools. But now he was an adult. He could do something like thriving, which is get a job and support himself. So he had to put down survival
Mm.
tools to pick up thriving tools. And thriving tools he knew nothing about. So he had to learn what a thriving tool was and like that better than the survival tools. So that's how people have to switch. And that's why history repeats itself, because it keeps repeating and repeating until you shift, until you make that shift. And in my How to Be the Hero of Your Own Life book is that I take people through the trajectory of their life. All core wounds are built in there. It's encoded in the book, so that when they get to 33 or so, then it's, oh, here's your choice. Do you want to survive or do you want to thrive? And then they get to
Mm.
shift that there. And as they're reading along in the book, the surprise of that and the wonder of that is that they don't even know that they've made the transition, but they
Mm.
know when they turn the page that they are now in thriving.
So, you talk about the thriving tools. Are there a set of tools that everyone should know about, or are those just going to be kind of unique and start dropping in?
The surviving tools are ones that you used, that you learned when you were
Hmm.
a kid, like that you
Hmm.
had to figure out.
Hmm.
All kind of, like, some kids had to become a bully, in order to just show their strength, or to combat or pretend that they weren't fearful. They had to, go the opposite direction. There's all kinds of disenfranchised male that we're seeing now on the public arena, because we get to see, oh, look at that brokenness in that individual, and this is how it's playing out in his adult life. And this is how it keeps being survival, survival, survival. And so you would want for those people to be able to shift that and be in authentic thriving. Thriving is authentic. Thriving is feels good, and you do thrive from it.
Hmm. So, is you? I'm thinking about a lot of young people today that are still living at home.
Young people, they're 35 years old living at home.
Okay, so, well, your 30-year-old male kind of triggered that thought
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
And that, the whole, there's been so much, oh, I forgot the name of the guy. He is an author. Scott is his first name, but he talks about the disenfranchisement of the young male today. And he says the big problem is the gaming. That the big problem is the whole cyber world.
Tech. Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah,
and
there's a demographic of young men, and they're not
Mhm.
so young. They can be all the way up to in their like 42 or so. And
Mhm.
they're tech brilliant, and
Mhm.
they work in the industry of tech. They're in the basement of their family, because they only need to sit at their computer and lay down on their bed. It's like very little that they have in terms of living, and
So
very
they're surviving. They're surviving.
they're surviving, and very little they have in terms of relationships. That
Yeah.
everything is mostly on the computer, and that's a whole demographic of young males that are that, and very brilliant in their field, but unable to really make money, and even though there's also they can make a lot of money on in tech, but
Yeah.
somehow it doesn't seem to materialize to personal autonomy, where they can go out and buy their own house. They're there at,
Mhm.
in somebody else's. Yeah, it's an
Mhm.
interesting social uh, department of like a brand new kind of.
It's a social challenge, that's for sure, I think,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. All right. So, in some of the things, I'm just looking at some of my notes I have after looking at that, and you talk about, um, oh, like, from you had a sense of humor from before you were born,
Yeah.
literally. I'm not quite sure how that, that
Well,
recognition.
I say in the book, I'm in the book I have I work out my original agreement. I believe that we all have, our plan before we come in, and there's clauses, and you work out your agreement. And I said, if I don't have a sense of humor, the deal's off. I'm not going in. Earth, you need humor.
Hmm.
You need humor, and that's my way of getting through the
Hmm.
place.
Well, it gets us through a lot.
Gets us through a lot. Yeah.
a lot of a lot of ups and downs. And I'm just going to say that being through my share of them, and everyone else has. So, if you were to if you were to guide someone, consult someone that, okay, so I don't remember back when I was teeny weeny. That okay, so how do we set up the plan for going forward?
You mean like from now,
Right
who
now.
wants to
Yeah,
go? Well, like for instance, where you have the decision that you're going to call senators. That's
yeah,
fantastic. And so
yeah.
then anybody who is listening, what do you want to do? Maybe, oh, I just feel this so strong way about this particular thing. Well, get your pencil out and let's hear about it. What is it that you're expressing? And
Hmm.
start bringing it out. Start, finding the way that you want to tell us all about it.
Hmm.
Well, something that I've found recently is I notice in my clients that they have a hard time focusing in terms of that they're scattered. Like, oh, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to do that thing, and they have like agendas on the table in front of them, and then you go from one thing to the other thing, and it's literally like juggling. You have to hold
Hmm.
it up in the air, and then you've got to do the next thing. So that's the way things are getting done now. It's not linear, it's lateral. That
Hmm.
you do a little bit of something and then you put that down and do a little bit of this over here. But
Hmm.
you are cognizant of, like, you've got three balls in the air, and then you do have all three done, but you don't do them, beginning, middle, and end to one, and then the next one and the next one. And that's how it's going. So if you have a method, like for instance, I put on one of my clients who travels a lot, colored pencils on the airplane. And so when she's coloring with the pencils, it's so great because she has the thoughts, and the thoughts can be big, the thoughts can be small, the thought can be belonging to this project or that project. And they just float up in an equal way, uh, but they're not equal in weight.
Hmm.
And so then that way it kind of irons itself out and
Hmm.
goes to what the projects are that it needs to go to. So if
Hmm.
you can find a method like colored pencils or any kind of art form, or people use a meditation about that, breathing, something simple, walking, just anywhere where you might be detached from your thinking, so your thinking can be free.
hmm.
And that's very beneficial lately.
So I mean, I'm a sticky note person.
Oh
I
yes,
actually,
love sticky
okay,
notes.
okay, I'm a sticky note person. And I actually have sticky notes everywhere. I mean, I have pads that I can grab. Very easy. I carry it in my purse. I have them by when I'm sitting in the living room and the TV's there, I have them because I never know if I'm going to hear something. Whoa, wait, say, wait a minute, I need to write this down. And doing that, or in an area, and then I will go into what I call my phrase myopic focus. Okay, this is what we're going to focus on, and go through it. The sticky notes could come out again, and I may actually start doing, okay, these are all these components I'm going to do from it. But I mean, that's how I go about literally doing taxes that way, you know.
Yes, that's a very good way to do taxes.
That,
So,
I mean,
yeah, the sticky notes. I was on a radio show way back in the 80s, I think it was, and they asked me what is the most important invention of the 20th century, and I said sticky notes
oh my God, I love
because
you, Vicky.
what it is that it shows us to be lateral, meaning it's random all over the place. And you're free to break open the line of linear because linear is not real. It just appears to be real for us. It feels like, okay, we're just, on a track here. It's not true. It's lateral is what where everything is.
When I am working with, we're talking about writing, when I have a writing partner, we do our historical fiction together, and I will just take over big board
Mm-hmm.
and multiple color sticky notes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I label the characters, each character has a different color.
Yeah, right. Good.
And-
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay, we start that way. And just okay, so let it flow.
Mhm.
And just and Brian will want to write all these details. No, 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 no. You can't get all those details on a sticky note. Just give a couple of trigger words. That's all you need.
Right. That's
And
why we use 3x5 cards in screenwriting. It's because a scene you can't write much on it,
hmm
and then you have it. You can shuffle it. You can change it up. You can, yeah.
hmm hmm the first time I ever wrote a book with sticky notes, I had to write a 30-day book. It was on money, and it was a 30-day book. And I had never, I don't know what possessed me to do it that way, but that's what because I was used to just writing.
Oh,
Um, and because this was the 30-day thing, I had to be so, and I'm a visual person anyway, and
mm,
I had to visually see the flow and change the flow if it didn't fit in. And the sticky
yeah.
notes opened up whole new way that supported the way my mind was going, and it
Oh,
allowed it to do it. And I was able to write that whole thing, within 6 weeks I was done.
that's wonderful. Yeah, that's your method. That's it.
Yeah. So it's just, I think for all of us, all of you, is to find what method works for you. And you need to go with that. It's okay. And really have that pull off so you can really run with it.
Yeah,
And
everybody absolutely have their own method. Absolutely.
that's right. And I think I've always told other authors, what works for me may not work for you.
Right.
And don't let someone come in and pound on you
No.
that you've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and work for 2 hours and nothing else comes in. No, no. Now, I am a 4 o'clock in the morning person. Okay, I can do that. But your MO could be 12 to 3 in the morning. And that would just not work for me. Your method is to go to a cafe or a Starbucks, whether that would be a disaster for me. I'm a voyeur. I have the squirrel problem. I would be all over the place and I would not get any work done,
Yeah.
but maybe drink whatever I have.
Yeah. 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 It's wonderful that people should just do themselves. Absolutely.
Oh God, that's a great line. We should just do ourselves.
Just do yourself. Do yourself.
Just do yourself. Vicki, we have about 10 minutes. What
Yes.
can we do here to kind of do a tie up here to people to recognize their inner method, embrace it, and how to move forward to enhance their writing and their publishing? What can we do there?
Well, I think that this is the most important time to be alive on planet Earth. And
Mhm.
all of us who are here in our particular age frames, it's vital that we show up and contribute in the place that we stand and what we see from where we stand. Like for instance, one of my clients, she's a parent, and she said she's maybe in her, I think she's in her late 50s, and she said her children are not having the same experience that she had growing up because now everything is so changed. And that's vitally important to her, like for her to know that from them, learn that from them, and let them learn from her what it was like for her. And so she's standing representing her age so that there's great contribution around all the other ages in that way, that kind of a thing. And that's vitally important for all of us now. And if people here are writers, oh my gosh, write. There's so much to say now, and you need to start saying it. Absolutely. Get going on it right away.
From your heart.
From your heart. From your heart. Because that's where it is. If you think it's from any place else, you're going to be stopped. Like one of the things people always they call me and they say, "Oh, I've been procrastinating." It's like, no, you haven't been procrastinating. You've been incubating, and know that. And when you're finished incubating, you'll get to the next piece of the process. But you can't push yourself out of, where you think, well, I'm not doing anything. Of course you're doing anything. You're writing the whole thing, but you're not writing it down on a piece of paper yet.
I used to, I love you, I love that you use the word incubation. I think a lot. I used to write stuff in my head. I could go for a walk and oh yeah, this is where this chapter is going to come in.
Yeah.
This is how Alexander should be talking to Nicole. This is that kind of thing. So that is, now, if I don't have a way, whether if I'm not dictating it into my phone or something, or have my sticky notes in my pocket, um, without that, you're going to lose some of that. I think that people need to recognize that. But I also, Vicky, I think that I've seen enough people get stuck in and this is where I think it's a killer, is they want it perfect. Whatever they do, they want everything perfect.
Hmm. Well, it's
Versus
perfect. So get over it. You're perfect as you are. Don't worry about it. And
whatever comes out at that time is perfect.
perfect.
Um, um, and so you come back and retweak it and do that. But I've seen it. I don't know if you've heard me say it, but I would get on people. I say, look, and I see this with authors all the time that the statistics are that something like 80% of the population wants to write a book. The great majority feel that there is a book in them. Now, I will say, as a book consultant, I think that's a great idea. Maybe you should get it out for you, but maybe it's not right for others.
The whole
Uh,
wide world. Yeah.
yeah, it's not right for the world. But I see a lot of people go for what I call the one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready, three to get ready, three to get ready, three to get ready. And they never allow themselves to stick that toe in the water and go.
Well, that's
And
okay because they don't want to. My dear beloved was a world-class musician. And
mhm.
so everywhere we went, people would say to him, like, oh, yeah, I play the saxophone. He said, oh, yes, you do. That. Well, it's in the closet. It's been there 7 years, but I play. You know, get the saxophone out, blow it. You know, don't do that to yourself that are you so afraid? Whatever it is, that you keep yourself in a state. Okay, if that's where you want to be, but that's not being a writer.
so maybe the counterback is, so your choice is you don't want to publish it.
You don't want
That's
to
why
publish.
you really just don't want to publish it.
Right. Well, J.D. Salinger, an excellent, astonished writer. There was much that he didn't publish. He didn't want it out there. And that, great. Okay. No, and in publishing, know your choice. Be very, very intimate with yourself. I mean, talk about going for the walk.
Mhm.
Go for a walk with yourself, and what kind of experience do you want to have? Do you
Mhm.
want to have, one of the worst experiences for somebody to have is to be paid a lot of money from a big publisher, and then it has to deliver, and that's a horrendous, pressure on
Stress.
somebody.
Yeah, it is. It's huge stress. And are you going to be a one book wonder, or maybe not a wonder at all, on that kind of thing? I think that's one of the beauties, that the growth of the independent publishing market, which is now publishing more books, way more books,
Yeah,
and selling more books than the major publishers,
yeah,
is that a lot of people can leave, your writers who desire to become authors, and go that step, find their heart and go there that step and get out there, that they just have to learn how to do the connection and find their people for their books. And they'll do far better than making a buck a book.
yeah. And the you want to do that work on yourself beforehand. Like,
Hmm.
what is your heart's desire? What do you want the outcome to be? And will you be happy when it is that? Know what you really, really want, because you'll get what you really, really want,
Hmm.
but that might not be what you want, what you really, really want. A lot of times people do not want what they really want.
Well, that brings us full circle to really say, what is you want. I always ask authors, what is success to you?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
What
right.
does success look like? What's it feel like? Where are you when it's happening? And it's always difficult for them. I mean, for some people, says, I want to sell a lot of books and I want to make a lot of money. I want to sell 1 million books. And I said, well, let's talk about the reality of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Less than 10 books a year sell 1 million books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, do you have it behind you? The clout, the energy, the money to
The
make that
pressure,
happen?
pressure.
The
It's a
pressure,
lot of pressure.
the myopic commitment.
It's
And
a,
if you,
it's a commitment. Yeah. If you, whatever effort you put into the writing, it's, go tenfold on the marketing. If that,
oh, oh
if
yeah.
you want that big a response.
Well, I just think, when it comes to writing, that writing a book is writing a book. But if your objective is part of your success quotient, your thriving quotient, is to get it into hands of people, to connect with people, to make a difference for people, to solve problems for people, to deliver unbelievable storytelling so people could just drop out and fall into it. It takes a lot of work. And I always say 10% is getting the product there, the book. 90% is finding finding the flock,
Yeah.
and
Finding the
and,
flock.
and finding your flock.
Yeah.
Instead of saying fans, it's your flock. I kind of like that.
Your flock. I like that. I like flock. I like flock.
All right. So where can people get your book? How to be a hero of your own life.
Well, they can get it at bookstores or Amazon. Amazon has it. They've got hardcover and softcover and Audible and ebooks.
Hmm.
all iterations, because
Hmm.
we're finding that people don't always read now. More
Well,
people are
they listen.
listening. Yeah.
Yeah, and audio, we knew back in the 19s that probably by about 2023, Audible would cross over the ebook reading, which it did. And now it's ahead of it. Print is still doing actually quite well.
Oh
Print
yeah.
is still happily alive at well. Vicky, I hate to say we have to go. We're like a few
Okay.
seconds from
Wonderful to talk to you,
closing out.
Judith. Thank you
So
very, very much. You're so good at
lo
this.
Loved having you. So everyone, how to be your own hero of your own life. If you are thinking of doing a memoir, get this book. Watch how it evolves and it will talk to you in a many ways. All right, we'll see you next week. I'm Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
Thank you. And all best happy writing to everyone.
Yes.